Hasbro. Hasbro, look at me. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Hey friends, I'm KT, this is Family Foam Sport, and maybe I'm a little bit overdramatic sometimes, but this is the Fortnite Dual Pack. This is the Fortnite LP, and this is the Flint Knock. This is not a review of either of these blasters or the pack that they came in. For that, you should check out my 1-minute review, which is pretty much the only format I do straight reviews in anymore. This is more of a bigger conversation, particularly about the LP. And yes, this is a conversation about firearm profiles and about toy safety. And yes, it's a conversation that connects to a lot of larger issues in the world, and particularly in the United States over the last few years. In this video, I'm not attempting to get deep into those topics. I'm really looking more on a surface level about the choices that companies make in the light of those things and where they may be going wrong and how they can do better. And specifically why I think the choice of the design of this particular blaster is worse than a lot of other similar decisions that have been made lately. So if you do want to catch those reviews and you want to be privy to these kinds of conversations, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and you can expect a lot more in the future. And if this topic isn't for you, I totally understand. I'll see you in the next one. I think for most viewers, the concerns related to this particular item are pretty obvious. You have a pretty realistic profile paired with overall a dark color. Yes, there's light colored grip scales, and yes, there's a big white stripe on the side, and yes, it does have an orange tip, which is very visible from the front. But to the casual viewer, this white stripe and the slight orange tip from the side is not enough to distinguish this from a regular firearm. So the question arises, what is enough, and why does this not qualify? I think there's a few different ways to answer that question, and to start, let's look at a recent product by another company that also made a little bit of a stir in terms of its profile and potential safety concerns on the field, the Dart Zone Pro Mark II. Now, between these two blasters, even though we've got a different grip placement on them, their sizes are very similar, their profiles are otherwise pretty similar, but the two main differences between this and this are color. We have a mostly bright red finish here. This was also available in a super bright orange. But anything can be painted by anybody, and the more important difference, I think, between these things is the use case. The Dart Zone Pro Mark II is a specialty expensive item. It was available from Target and Walmart, but only online. It's a Springer blaster with a stiff prime that shoots over 100 feet per second and only shoots short darts. This is a blaster that was clearly designed for and generally only accessible by adults and older kids who are more experienced. When this blaster came out, there was a decent amount of, not really outcry, but a lot of conversation about the appropriateness of taking a blaster like this into a public park. One of the things that we pride ourselves on in the Nerf hobby is the ability to play our sports in public parks because our equipment is so obviously toys. A blaster like this, even with its red or orange color, starts to blur that line a little bit. One thing that definitely assuaged that feeling is the gigantic orange safety muzzle that the blaster came with. You can attach this at any event where you're concerned about visibility and immediately get a safer looking, more toy-like profile. So clearly, even in the design stages, Dart Zone was thinking about this. They recognized that this could be a potential problem, and so they gave us a solution in the box. Partly because they knew that their audience was a responsible audience, an older audience that generally would know when was the right time and the wrong time to use a blaster that looks like this. Looking back at the LP, the audience for the LP is kids. You're going to be handing these off to kids who do not necessarily understand those lessons. The onus is now on parents to check and enforce that their kids are making those smart decisions about where this blaster is going and where they're brandishing it and how they're brandishing it. In our hobby, we also have bespoke 3D printed blasters like the Concept and the NG5 Fenris, which also have very realistic profiles, especially from a distance. 3D printed blasters can be printed in any color, but as you can see, people tend to print them in brighter, more garish colors. In my opinion, this Fenris is actually a little bit on the conservative side, but it's printed in red and orange and is pretty obviously a toy. And when I made this concept, I went all out with the silky pink filament as well as the teal. Now, I actually am not super happy with how much orange is on the tip of this one either, but I've only played with this in areas where there's clearly a lot of people walking around with Nerf blasters. So even if I'm in public, I'm surrounded by others using extremely toy-like objects, and in that context, I feel like this is very safe. This, in the hands of an 8-year-old, exists in any context that they choose to carry it in. Now, one of the main benefits of making Nerf blasters that have this kind of shape is having a really nice grip. And I think to varying degrees, all of these blasters achieve that. This grip had to fit an entire magazine inside, so it's a little bit chunky, but it's got nice curves on it and it's comfortable to hold and use. The Dart Zone Mark II is very comfortable to carry as well. A lot of people have loved using this blaster for quite a while. Now, there's a long tradition of Nerf modders taking single shot blasters and modding them for maximum performance because you directly load the dart in, there's nowhere for air to leak, you can really max them out. And a lot of the reason people do this is because these single shot blasters have more pistol-like shapes and nice grips, and they're very comfortable to use. So if we don't think that blasters like this are safe for kids to be carrying around, well, maybe the adult community can use it as a modding platform. Unfortunately, that one really good reason to carry a blaster like this, that nice grip, this does not have it. There's a nice sharp edge that's not really rounded on the back, and I think that this is one of the most uncomfortable things to carry. It digs into my thumb right here real bad. If I don't even have to squeeze it, it's just carrying it around. Additionally, even though the Flint Knock for some reason has a plunger head with an O-ring on it, which provides a few more options for modding and a little bit more possibilities for maxing out its power, the LP has an Alpha Strike style plunger head, and if you're not familiar with that, it is basically a single piece of plastic that doesn't offer as good of a seal and is more difficult to replace and modify. So this doesn't meet the needs of those adult modders who would know how to safely carry and utilize a toy like this. So that begs the question, when you have a company like Nerf that has largely made very kid-friendly, good decisions about safety and limits their FPS and seems to measure the joules upon impact of all their ammo coming out of their blasters, specifically for child safety, how do they make a mistake like this? And I'd love for this to be where I come at you with an answer, but honestly, I'm stumped. If you look at a lot of their other Fortnite blasters, you've got their assault rifle, the Fortnite AR. Nobody is going to mistake this yellow ridiculousness for anything but a Nerf blaster. Here's the more recent Fortnite HR. Again, orange, cartoony, big, thick barrel. You get to have that sniper bolt action feel without anything dangerous looking. Am I concerned about kids painting these black? Sure, but that problem applies to any Nerf blaster that's shaped anything like a gun. My point is that even in its stock form, from a distance to a casual viewer, this is not a safe profile. And it's wild to me that this was put out into the world looking just like this at a low price point, specifically targeted towards kids who do not know how to safely handle it. And I feel like I harp on this point all the time, but the best Nerf blasters are ones that look ridiculous. The ones that look like creatures. They come in wacky colors, or they have awesome backstories. They look like they're made out of junk. Hasbro, please do better. You know better. You've never done this before. Nerf is a more interesting sport, a more interesting hobby than this. You proved it in the same box. This is an awesome cosplay piece. The Flint Knock has such a great profile for all kinds of creative play. This just isn't worth it. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this video. I appreciate it. Please be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like all YouTubers, guess what? Most of my viewers aren't subscribed to the channel, and I would love to start hitting some more milestones and keep climbing. I pride myself in being able to talk both as a hobbyist and a parent, and in order to blend those two ideas together and provide information from both sides to the other, and I would really like to spread that message further. So thank you so much for your support, and until next time, I'll see you on the field.